Is being nice manipulative or a form of manipulation? Now, immediately what jumps out at me is obviously, well, it depends. But that's not what I mean exactly. So, like with myself, for instance, generally, I have a desire to be nice to other individuals. I don't see people and have ill thoughts. I mean, I can suspect they're like against me in a general way, like there's a distrust, but I want to be nice. Like in general, if left to my own devices, I will always be nice. It is only when someone does something or aggrieves me in some way where I start to feel negative towards them. But I don't see people and just have ill thoughts. I, and I find it quite difficult to understand the mentality. Like people that fuck with other people. Like I don't know what's going on in their head because I've never had that. So I suspect there are things like they're angry at the world, angry at their own lives. This is the way they've been treated, shit like that. But like I don't know because I've never felt that. So I can only like, and people can say, well, you have this history of violence. How can you not? But like, if somebody grieves me and makes me angry, and like the fires of rage can only be put out with blood, you know. But that goes away, and like that's only a short time, and like it's from like the feelings of being like wronged so much in life and there is no justice, and like the only way to make them understand how they've upset me and hurt me is to make them feel pain. Like, but that's not something I like feel towards people I don't know and like some schmo on the street. Like in general, I want to help people and be nice. I realize how juvenile that is, but like that's like if everybody was like me, the world would work because people would all want to be nice. I don't I don't have a corrupt heart in that way, and I don't know. So what does this have to do with being nice? Is manipulation. So when I'm nice, I'm doing it because I want to be nice. Like in me, I want to be nice to other people. I want their lives to be better. I want them to feel better. If I can, you know, inconvenience myself in some small way to make people feel better, I almost always do it unless there's other stuff going on. But in general, this is my attitude. But I like in social situations, like if I'm at a party or something, I'm on. Um, I'm going out of my way to be more like agreeable and entertaining. Um, and in that, like, although I have no intent, I would have to say it's manipulative because it's not something I legitimately feel. It's, I mean, I feel usually positive towards them, but I'm going out of my way. I'm manufacturing this personality. And although very pleasant and fun to be around, it's also very taxing on me. But like that's not, I don't want to say it's not sincere, but it's certainly fabricated. It's manufactured. It's not me just being me. I'm amping it up. So it it does make me wonder if like is being nice some strategy of manipulation I learned when I was young, and like that's why like this strategy was the most successful one I had. And frequently people who are powerless or have spent time powerless, especially as young children, you learn the only thing you can do is be nice because even if somebody's hitting you, hurting you, doing fucked up things to you, like you still have to try to get that person to like you, like once this is done, usually, because like you're in, close proximity quite often to these people. So like there's still like all you can do is be nice to hope you can get what you want. um Anything else, and like, you know sullen, you're gonna get hit more. Attitude, you're gonna get you might get beaten to death. It was not even a thought in my mind to have attitude. The consequences would have been horrific. Like it wasn't even something I could have conceived of. And so like in the modern world, like I'm unsure, like, where the manipulation thing really lies. It does seem that there's something there to me. Even like referring to just myself, because I do think like a lot of people uh, are doing it as a, like, they do not have that same desire to be nice. Um, to them, it is just a social lubricant type thing. It is a way of interacting, but has nothing to do with how they actually feel. There was an old Chinese philosopher in the West, we call him Mencius. And Mencius was a guy who was like into universal love and had a lot of very similar teachings to Christ. And what he had said is, the way that you can tell all humans are inherently good is that if you have a child walking like a toddler and he's walking like on the edge of a well, everyone is going to react and say, "Oh no!" I like they're going to be hit with the jolt of adrenaline and want to save the kid, and like the vast majority of people would. But there, and I have known people like this. They want to create suffering. Now they're very fucked up inside, obviously, but like to them, some of them, they would see an opportunity to put a family in grieving by a child walking on a well. Um, like, this is something that is going to cause tremendous pain, and therefore it is very exciting. And there are people like that. Uh, and that's not to say everything Mencius said is worthless, but like, and it's fascinating because he was from ancient China, but like he could not conceive of a mind that would do that, that would see a child on a well and see the opportunity to create suffering. And I am familiar with that mindset, and although I've never known it like that, I've been around it enough that I can surmise what likely outcomes would be and how things would be seen, and the desire to like create suffering. it's it's almost like the inverse of what I was talking about at the beginning, where I have a desire to be nice. Like, these people go through life with they get positive feelings by causing suffering in the world. And it doesn't matter what kind of suffering it is, as long as it's suffering. It can be simple shit from unplugging an alarm clock so a person's late for work. I mean, it can be obviously very extreme stuff like stomping people out or abusing children or spouse or what have you. Like, it, in a lot of ways, it really doesn't matter. It is just the desire to create suffering. When they interact with people, they want them to hurt. And like, they might not even know that. Occasionally you get a drug dealer who is like this, and it's it's all bad. Uh, but that is something that like a lot of people can't understand, that people like that exist and walk out in the world, and on top of it you interact with them. And most of them are able to hide it because if they've gotten to that point in life, they've managed to pick up pretty successful survival strategies and social strategies, and they can cover it very well. Um, so the people being inherently good, obviously, I don't see things that way. People being inherently bad, um, I mean, I see babies like steal other babies' juice boxes and stuff, and like justice has to be served. That's not your juice box. That's his juice box. That's your juice box. You don't touch his juice box. But like the kids don't think about it that way. It's just like quite literally like might makes right, unless someone's there. And so like I mean, that's not very nice. Like, I would go as far as to say that is bad. Like goodness is something like goodness. But being nice is something that is like cultivated. You have to like grow it in someone by, you know, showing them how to be. Now, in my case, like I said, I learned being nice most like as a in a messed up way. Um, like, but I don't know how much is like innate in a person's nature. I don't buy a lot of that. I do think genetics gives like predispositions, but I think it has much more to do with how you're treated in the world around you when you're growing up as to what you become, as to your genetics. Like genetics obviously controls some things, but like I don't really like the genetic arguments. I find them to be desperate and out of touch with reality. Obviously, like I said, it controls some things, but environmental factors make up like 80%, maybe more. Um, but being nice, and this, like, is it manipulation? I don't. I don't have a good answer. Like I said, with myself, it's quite sincere. And I know there are people like the inverse of me, and it is those people that actually taught me how to be nice by being mean, right? Like that's kind of weird, right? Like I am almost the inverse of that, and that's strange. Like I always say, I have like a very juvenile sense of morality, and like that is I don't want to say very black and white because I see a lot of gray, um, but frequently justice is simple, um, especially if like the case is clear and it's not a very messy case, but uh, it's I mean quite simply you hit him back, and that's that's good enough. Now I realize once again people are insane and they can't do that kind of stuff, but you know, I tend to have a somewhat juvenile sense of like justice and that things are very clear, um, and I don't remember where this is going. I remember it's about being nice manipulation and like it does seem to me like I said that there's something to it. I don't know how much, uh but is it like doing it with intent that makes it manipulation? Well, what if you can't acknowledge your own intent? Like a lot of people can't acknowledge the deeper parts of themselves, so like they operate on a subconscious level, like the motivations they have, like they're not consciously aware of, but it's like the way they've learned to live. So I've seen this with people where like they can't deal with certain emotions, so they still will act in a way that basically display those emotions, but they don't recognize it like that. And it they never say it. They never verbalize it. So they just act out in the way that a person like that would feel, but they don't ever say anything that would go along with it because they can't confront the fact that that's the way they feel. And it's one of the reasons I always believe in you have to be able to say it. Um, like it's a very very big issue with me. Like if there's a problem, you have to be able to say what the problem is. You have to be able to speak it. Otherwise, it will never go away. You have to be able to call it what it is. Uh, it cannot be wrong to say what is. And if there is a problem, it needs to be addressed. Otherwise, it will just get worse. Um, and obviously, the whole thing about being nice and manipulation, I mean, I wouldn't say it's much of a problem, but it's certainly something that, it shows up in my mind from time to time with people where I'm interacting with them and I see the way they interact with others, and I'm like, you are being nice as a strategy. Like, you don't legitimately have positive feelings towards yourself by being nice and being helpful and like making the world a better place. Like, this is, you're keeping track. Like, I did this for you, you're gonna do this for me. It's transactional. It is not, like, to me that would be a form of manipulation, keeping a toll of things like that. Now of course you can keep some. Like, I've done 14 things nice for this guy and he hasn't done anything. uh like, and when I say anything, I don't mean it's like I said, in a transactional way, but if you're putting in so much more effort to something, um, you might not want to have that person. Like, you might not want to be doing that much for that person because it's a lot of energy emotionally. Energy as well is being spent on stuff like that. And if you're not getting anything out of it at all, like, I mean, it would seem fruitless to me. You go around people that, uh, like, respect you and see you as positive, like, or see you in a positive way. You don't want to be around people that would do things like that. So like that problem kind of solves itself. You would want to find better people, I'd imagine. So from the beginning, I said that there seems to be something to it, but I don't know how much. And like I said, I draw the distinction in myself when I'm like in a party situation where I have to, like, what I would call glad handing people. And that doesn't mean like paying them off, although that's where the expression comes from. But it just means being very nice and sociable and like not being the life of the party, but trying to like bring people together actively, make sure everyone's in a good mood, like that type of stuff. Um, so yeah, that's my being nice, manipulation. Maybe it depends on how you define a lot of things in the end, but it's really something only an individual person on an individual level knows about themselves. There's no other way you can really be certain. I mean, if somebody gets off on suffering, well, you'll probably know it pretty quick. But a lot of times, like I said, they don't make themselves obvious. They do things in subterfuge just to cause misery, like unplugging alarm clocks is what I noticed. That was like, why would you do that? Putting people's toilet brushes in the toilet and then putting them back when they're in their house, like messed up shit all the time. And it's like, why would you do that? Uh, but I came to see like that's just the same way I have the compulsion to be nice to people, to like, because I want things to work. I want people to be in a good mood. I want like, I, I want to live in a family sitcom, you know? Um, and they don't see it that way. Um, and like, I don't want to say like, it's evil because it's obviously stuff that's been done. Like they picked it up somewhere. It's become part of them somehow, and it's chances are it's a lot of messed up stuff's been done to them as well. But like that doesn't excuse it. It still needs to be uh, dealt with harshly. Uh, you know the the fires of the fires of rage can only be quenched with blood. um, but no, I mean it's obviously inappropriate. But anyway, yeah, that's my point. I'm cutting video games to only 2 days a week now, so I'm going to be trying to make more videos because video games steal too much time from me. So I'm setting them to 2 days a week and seeing if we can work with that. And I have a lot of stuff to say again too, so there will be more videos now. But my hand's almost unbroken too, and like spending I spend 4 to 6 hours a day learning about to work on my new project, and the whole time I've had to do it with a broken hand, and it is hand intensive. Oh my god, that sucks so bad. But that's what you get for doing stupid shit like breaking your hand because you're angry. You should act like a grown up. Well, take it for what it's worth.